So BTS recently announced that their new album will be titled Arirang. And before I talk about my thoughts on that, I think it's worth pausing on what Arirang actually is. Arirang is a Korean traditional folk song, but even that description is not adequate enough because Arirang is not just a single song. It is a name given to an entire family of songs that were passed down orally and continuously rewritten and reinterpreted. There's no fixed melody or structure or theme that is consistent across all Arirangs. Of course, there are ideas and emotions that recur across different versions. The only thing that is consistent is the verse Arirang, or its variations like Arari or Ariari, which holds the song together while leaving the rest open to interpretation. Different regions sing it differently, different communities have shaped it to fit their own lives. So for instance, the most widely known Arirang is the Gyeonggi Arirang, which begins with Arirang, Arirang, Arariyo, Arirang 고개로 넘어간다. While the Jindo Arirang begins with 아리아리랑 스리스리랑 아라리가 났네. But the Mirang Arirang takes that same verse and brings it in the middle of the song, going 아리아리랑 스리스리랑 아라리가 났네. And those are just the three most known Arirangs. There are approximately 3,000 different Arirangs that have been officially confirmed, and it is assumed that there are far, far more. The origins of the word Arirang itself are still uncertain, but scholars generally agree on one thing. The refrain does not need a literal definition to function. In fact, the most likely explanation is that it is a nonsense verse that developed from natural sounds you made when you were singing any melody, kind of like how you would just go la 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 la. This is why Arirang is what scholars describe as a song of the soil, 흙의 노래. It is a song that simply emerged from the people that reflects their lives and their experiences, with verses that were easy to remember and improvise on so that they could not just share it with others, but also make it their own. It could be a work song or a play song, something to sing with a group or all by yourself while traveling. And it was able to express so many different emotions, whether it was longing, resentment, love, or grief. And because it is a song of the people that is constantly changing, Arirang also absorbed so much of all the history that swept over the peninsula, including horrible traumas like wars or colonization. And in many ways, Arirang is the collective memory of the Korean people. So Arirang isn't just a song, it is a living, breathing cultural heritage that is constantly evolving with its people. That's one of the reasons why it's on UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage. In that sense, I can't help but feel genuine excitement about Bangtan's fifth album, Arirang, because if Arirang has been passed down through centuries by being the people's song, always being rewritten, changing with many different versions in existence, then Bangtan's Arirang is inherently a part of that bigger cultural context. Just as different communities added their own accents, rhythms, and stories to Arirang, BTS is adding theirs, shaped by a life lived across borders, languages, stages around the world. They are offering their Arirang. Within that, I see a lot of things. First, of course, it's them of reaffirming their Korean identity by putting their own stepping stone in the long tradition of Arirangs. They are reaffirming their place as a part of this wonderful culture that is Korean music, acknowledging the deep, humble roots that their art has grown from. Second, they're acknowledging how their experiences with people have grown and developed their art, because that's what Arirang is. Don't forget, this is the people song. And in that way, that is a nod to the audience, the fans, everyone who loves them. It's also an encouragement to recognize the complexity within Korean culture rather than reducing it to something flat or singular. Arirang has never told just one story or required one correct emotion. By invoking Arirang, BTS aligns themselves with that plurality, not with a fixed or packaged version of Korean identity. But lastly, by choosing Arirang, BTS isn't placing themselves as representatives or authorities on Korean music at all. They're placing themselves inside a lineage. Arirang isn't something you complete or own. It is something you carry for a while, add your voice to, and then pass on. And I think this album reads as their way of expressing it was never just about our own legacy. It was about contributing to something bigger and welcoming others to continue on that journey that they in turn picked up from those who came before them. And in that way, it's not just a nod to the past, it is a daring step toward the future expressed in the most boldly Korean way possible. I can't wait for March 20th.